We need that remixed.
Tim is here.
Stream.
And so is Jesse. Justin's gone, but what's new? Look out. It is Nintendo Dads. Hey man, you boob! We're going to play that next week in honor of the new show launching.
Yes.
I am looking forward to that show.
Me too.
I didn't grow up on He-Man. I mean,
Oh, really?
I couldn't get the toys. My parents were like, you can only get certain toys and stick with those. We're not going to buy all these different things.
Gotcha.
So it was obviously G.I. Joe, Transformers, Legos. Those
Yeah,
were the
'cause
things I got into.
You're all almost my age, so yeah, you and I were in that demographic when it was new.
Yeah.
Mine was He-Man and Transformers and GoBots.
Yeah.
So this is, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I really, really, really hope it's better than.
I did
crazy,
watch the
y'all.
cartoons.
Transformers
couldn't get the toys.
Transformers Kingdom and He-Man come out on the same day. On
And did you
Netflix.
hear they're doing new G.I. Joe cartoon in 2022?
I did not. I heard that there was a new Snake Eyes movie.
If it has the Cobra
Yes.
song from G.I. Joe the movie, I'm in.
I hope not.
Cobra.
Hope
But yeah, I did see. I am all about the Snake Eyes movie as well, so I'm looking forward to
I saw a
that.
preview for that in the theater. I saw
yeah,
Black Widow.
It was a trailer in front of Black Widow.
Yep.
And I
I'm
finally
excited
finished
for it.
Loki right before I came here.
I still have to see that. I am so behind on my.
We
Disney
watched
Plus
that
stuff.
yesterday.
Oh, it's so good.
I just sat there with my mouth open, like, what's
Yep.
gonna happen next?
The whole time I was going, yep, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. And finally my wife was like, okay, we get it. You know who this is. You know what this is. Okay. Let's
All
do
right.
this.
All right, everybody ready? Jesse, we look good.
You look good.
All right, 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 334, recorded on July 15th, 2021. On tonight's episode, we talk about Nintendo Switch OLED, Steam not Switch not OLED, and Persona's 25th anniversary. Jesse, you know what to do.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marty here, and you are listening to Nintendo Dads. It's episode 334. As Tim said, it's July 15th, 2021. And man, do we have some stuff to talk about, including Steam Decks and Stream Decks and Personas and OLEDs and all kinds of other things and stuff and things, as Rick Grimes would say.
Stuff.
Yeah, speaking of stuff, Jesse Waldack, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. I have a few things I wanted to quickly show off before we started things off. So, as when this Mimikyu hat came in, the other day, I put it on and showed my wife, and she goes, "What the hell do you have on your head?" So basically, I ordered a bunch of things from the Pokemon Center store, which, because they're Pokemon Go related, comes with the Professor Willow research card,
Yes.
which has a code on it that I can then put into the website tied with Pokemon Go to get a special quest line.
Nice.
So so we're talking about paid DLC the like amiibo way.
And folks, that's Jesse's Pokemon Minutes or Pokeminute. No, no.
There'll be a little more Pokemon later. Yeah, so basically, I got 2 shirts in this, so I can get 3 cards because I have 2 accounts, and I'll give one of the codes. I gave one of the third code to my son, so we're all working on that quest line. The other thing I wanted to quickly show off is I told you about. Remember the Xbox controllers that can be customized? Mine came in.
You got one.
So
it's a Tingle controller.
It's colored like Tingle. Tim set up the original color scheme, and I kind of tweaked a few things. I think I switched the red and the blue, and it is engraved with my name on it. I'm not sure if you can see that.
That is nice.
So yeah, I like that. It feels nice. And then last week I talked about the stand that Dat kind of sculpted for me. The first version didn't quite work, so we tried a second version. This is a little thinner. Still didn't work because the feet were wrong. So I kind of literally took a Dremel tool and cut them off and tested it. I think this will work. So we did another edit of the model, and I'm reprinting that now. So hopefully that is good. And if so, then I'll have that set up for next week's show with using my new Stream Deck XL.
New tools.
New toys.
You'll be using your new Stream Deck, but not a Steam Deck. So yeah, that'll be that one letter makes the difference, folks.
Right.
Speaking of a letter making a difference, Tim Off, all the way up from Detroit, Michigan, Minnesota, whatever.
Detroit,
wherever,
Michigan, Minnesota.
somewhere up there.
MIMN. There's your letter.
Right, one letter makes a difference. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. It's been a rough week, but it's actually wasn't going to be on, but I'm glad I'm on. I'm glad I'm on with you guys and be able to, talk about what's been in the news, and looking forward to doing that. So I appreciate it. How you doing, Marty?
I'm good. Sometimes when times are tough, you just need some time with the boys.
That's right.
Or girls, if that's,
Or all of the above.
The people.
Be with the people.
Right. Well, speaking of the people don't want to hear us yammer on and on and on. They want the news. So let's just dive right into it, shall we? And our news is brought to us by you fine folks over at patreon.com/NintendoDads, or for as little as $1 a month, you can join in with a fantastic community of Nintendo dads and moms who are over there hanging out in the Discord, participating in monthly mayhem, creating podcasts to be on the podcast network. Some of them are even playing Xbox, which, how did that happen? Right. So lots of cool stuff going on over there. And starting in August, and actually possibly next week, we're going to be having some of our Patreon producers on. And so if you're listening and you're a Patreon producer, understand that a message has been dropped into your inbox on Patreon to schedule your date on the show. So if you'd like to be a part of that, just go head over there, tell us what works for you, and we are going to have you right here on the show. Of course, we're also brought to you now by Manscaped. Manscaped is the premier line of grooming tools for men, particularly below the belt. And so you can head over to manscaped.com and use the exclusive code NINDADS. That's NINDADS. Let me say that again. NINDADS. You'll get 20% off your first order and free shipping. And guys, I got to say this. I talked about it last week. I picked up the weed whacker, right, for the nose and the ears. And it works. It's good stuff. I did not pull my nose hairs out, which had happened with a previous device that I had tried. That was not pleasant. And, I could actually do it myself. Like, I didn't have to call my wife in there and be like, hey, can you get this hair in my ears? Because that's embarrassing, right? You don't want to ask the wife to do that. So head over to manscaped.com, use the code NINDADS for 20% off and free shipping on your first order. There's all kinds of goodies over there you can go and check out. So yeah, there you go. Hey, Jesse, have you used yours yet?
I still haven't. I plan on getting into it sometime soon. But...
This weekend, live stream. All right.
No.
I have used mine.
So, MSL is asking about the overlay I've got on. So.
Oh yeah. Well, there's that. Let's talk about some headlines, shall we? Today at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, Nintendo Switch OLED model pre-orders went live at retailers across the United States. Best Buy, Walmart, Target, and GameStop all put theirs up for pre-order. As of right now, Amazon has still not gone live. But of course, the SKU came out in two separate models, the neon blue, neon red, which is the current model of the Switch, basically, and the brand new white model. Who was able to get a pre-order?
I did.
I was not.
I pre-ordered white.
Me too. Apparently, that is the new colorway for this generation of consoles.
Yeah, I see a lot of. I saw that the neon were up quite a while.
Yeah. So, Jesse, you pre-ordered online.
Yes.
I went in store. How was your experience online?
I didn't have any problems. It was just quick, fast.
Who did you go with, by the way?
I went through GameStop, and I saw 2 o'clock. Refresh the screen. The not available turned into pre-order. So click, and then check out, and I was done in 30 seconds.
Wow. I went in store in GameStop because I didn't know where I was going to be at 2 if I didn't make the time to do that. So I figured that I would just go. I actually got there about 1:15 to stand in line, and I was the only guy in line until 5 minutes ahead of time.
Yeah. I did tell my son because he had the day off, so I wasn't sure if he was going to try to pre-order one of these or not. I haven't heard back from him at all, whether he did or didn't try. I'll talk to him tomorrow for sure.
I did notice that there were several people in our community who were able to pre-order, but also several who weren't able to pre-order as well. So if you were able to get an extra pre-order and you'd like to help out the community, you can post that over in the Discord. I noticed there were a couple people who said, hey, I got one here and there. Like I got a neon here and I'm waiting for white somewhere else. So maybe you can get there in the Switch sub-channel of the Discord and talk about that and help a few people out. We put a Twitter poll up today about 4:45 p.m. Central asking who was able to get a pre-order. 74% of you said yes. 26% said no. And so I'm excited now. I'm just got to wait. My Switch has to hold out until October the 8th. Like it's got to limp along until then.
Right, and hopefully not die before then, because it needs to be alive in order to do system transfers.
Yeah, and here's the other thing: how much is that Animal Crossing transferal app going to get a workout on that day?
I think that's going to be a fun
Think about
day.
that. Maybe we should put a new poll up. Chances of the Animal Crossing transferal app crashing and burning on October 8th.
We should ask the Game Pass news folks that, because they're also the Dad's Crossing people.
Hey, they may finally have something to talk about on Animal Crossing if they do that. I came to a realization a couple of days ago. I haven't been to my Animal Crossing town in about a month and a half.
Oh, I haven't been there since like last August.
Well, all of your animals are just whitewashed bones laying in the sun by now.
Sanrio cards are the only reason why I got back into it.
Could be worse. Could be my city folk. Or not city folk.
How long have those city folk been waiting on you? How long has New Leaf been waiting on you, Jesse?
New Leaf has been waiting on me for about 7 years.
It's just like a nuclear wasteland in Jesse's New Leaf. The trailers are turned over. Things are on fire. Everything's dead. Every inch of your island is weeds.
There was an animation of like Isabel ruins everything, where like the mayor has been away and then came back and he sees what happened. Have you seen this? If not, you should check it out.
I'm going to have to check that out. By the way, if you are facing a similar problem in Animal Crossing and your island is covered in weeds, you can head over to manscaped.com and use the... No, I'm not going to go there. But anyway, if you guys were able to get an OLED model Switch, congratulations. We'll be checking in more on that as we get closer to time. By the way, you guys, Jesse, pre-ordering online, you had to pay for the whole thing. Is that correct?
No, I don't think they actually charged me. So I think they may
But when they do charge, it'll probably be all at once.
Yeah,
Right.
this
So
wouldn't be
in store, it was only $50 to pre-order.
nice.
I was under the impression that consoles used to be $100 to
No,
pre-order.
I think they were always 50 down.
Well, when I pre-ordered my Switch, it was $100.
Maybe that was a temporary thing.
It may have
But-
been. Maybe it was because it was such a high value item. You know, they only had like 5 or 6 at my store when they first came out. So I don't know. Let's continue talking about some releases here. An IGN article today confirmed that Nintendo had, quote, unforeseen shipping delays when it came to the Zelda and Loftwing amiibo. So this is bad news for those of you who are looking forward to Skyward Sword HD releasing, well, in about a couple of hours here as we record. As a result, a small portion of the amiibo will only a small portion of the amiibo will be available on July 16th. Additional shipments will be delayed into August and shipped to retailers at that time. Let me ask you guys this. This is 2 games in a row, right? Monster Hunter Stories 2 had problems getting amiibo. Now, Skyward Sword HD, which is arguably Nintendo's biggest release of the year so far, because they've been hyping this up. But I'm just wondering here, what is going on? What do you guys think?
Employment issues at distributors.
Yeah, probably still, like, you know, I don't know, it could be COVID related staffing still, because you know, I know
I have an
areas,
answer. I just wanted to hear what you guys thought
Okay,
first.
I know some areas are still have you know having hotspots in COVID where others are not. So I don't know if that could be part of this.
I was reading. I also play a ton of board games, so I'm in several board game groups on Facebook, and ran across a post the other day by someone from Deepwater Games they're currently about to launch a brand new Kickstarter for a board game, and her post was basically about, if you think it's bad now on the shelves, wait until November. Wait until the holiday season as far as board games are concerned, because they're looking at container shipping fees of doubling and tripling.
Ouch.
Because there's either just not enough work, or there's not enough space, or there's storms, that they're having to deal with. I think we're seeing a shortage right now. I don't know. I still like Transformers and things like that, so I go hit the stores up every now and then to look. There's a lot of empty space. I don't know if you guys have seen that, like in the toy section.
Yes, I have.
There's a lot of empty
really
space.
been looking.
And something tells me earlier this year, there was a giant ship that sank off the coast, off the West Coast, that was full of Hasbro product.
Really?
And something tells me that some of that is related to this. Like
I knew about the canal being jammed with.
Now, and the canal apparently too is, they said the ripple effect of that would be felt for months.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if some of that is still, there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
think there's a multitude of things, definitely.
I think it's a perfect storm scenario.
Yes.
I think it sucks for Nintendo, right?
Sucks for everybody.
I don't know. Here, you think about this. You have this really big game coming out, and there's this really prized amiibo that you've locked quality of life improvements behind. Yeah. And oops, it's not going to be available for a month. How many people are here was my first thought when I saw this. How many people are still going to need that feature that the amiibo provides a month later?
Well, isn't that feature in the amiibo, though, something that yes, it's behind that amiibo, but more often, like you can do it anytime, as opposed
Yeah.
to where you have to go to the location itself in the game. Like it's there, like
Yeah.
it's the fast travel
I
feature,
want to
right?
call out something in the chat right now. Console Cato, good friend of the show,
I thought we were
absolutely
gonna bring that
roasted.
up. I
No,
thought we were gonna bring that
absolutely
up during the
roasted
Steam
me
Deck
on
thing.
Twitter earlier because I said PC gaming sucks, which by the way it does. But I'm going all in. I'm sorry. I don't want to point and click every game. I want to play with the controller. And anyway, you just keep doing what you grow up doing. I never played like Number Muncher. That's what you play on a PC. I'm like Greg Miller. Do your taxes on it, download stuff on it, take the NX, shovel the dirt. It's done. Anyway, but
I
anyway,
use a controller
Console
with
Kato in the chat is saying this, and I love this. Here it is. Why would you not just say, "Hey, our ship full of amiibo sank"?
yeah.
Right? Right?
Well,
I
then
would just say
people
it.
would go-
Just say like,
People
look.
would go look for it and try to salvage.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's unforeseen difficulties. No, they're all on the bottom of the ocean. Nemo is playing with your Loftwing amiibo. Ariel has them all stored on her shelves of coral. That's where they all are.
But
right?
upside down because she doesn't know how
Yeah,
weird
upside
things
down.
work.
Yeah, she's calling it a dingle hopper. All right, so there you go. It's just, this dingle hopper is the picture of a big bird and a woman. I don't know what it is, but it's look at the stuff, isn't it neat? Shiv UK in the Discord says it's a good thing that they don't start that this doesn't do anything meaningful in the game. Oh wait,
Yeah, I like
Right?
that comment,
And-
so I had to throw it in.
and so look, I mean, it does do something meaningful. It sucks that it's delayed, but
Well,
oh
like
my
I said,
gosh,
so help me
y'all.
understand, make me understand this, because again, yes, it allows you to fast travel whenever you want, right? That's what that
It
is,
allows you
that
to
it
go
does.
back to the sky anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, including in the
Whereas,
middle of a dungeon.
right, which is great, right? I understand that, but you can still do that in the game, just not as frequently because you got to get to certain points in the game in order to do that, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you got to find the statues.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
but-
still there. It's just you can't do it
It's still
when
there.
you want to
It's
with
still
an
there.
amiibo.
right, but like in the middle
People
of a
are
dungeon.
writing. I'm sorry if I'm distracted. People are writing lyrics to Ariel's song in the chat, and it's but it's themed. I've got loft wings and trinkets aplenty.
Yes.
But the main difference is, I think, you,
More
you
examples
can't,
of Marty singing.
you can't do that in a dungeon. There's like I don't think there's any
Right.
statues in a dungeon.
Right.
But if you have the amiibo, if you're getting low on health, you can tap out, go back up into the sky, fill up
Right.
your
Okay.
fill up your hearts, fill up your potions, and then tap back down to where you started. Where
Okay.
Yeah.
without it, you couldn't do that.
Right. So I
So,
get that. So that it allows you to do
many-
that.
How many of us right here, right now, are going to sell our Skyward Sword amiibo that we've got pre-ordered?
I like Quag 311 says, I just want my Joy-Cons.
I was kind of getting worried because like my FedEx tracking on my GameStop order for Loftwing was showing delivers on the 16th, and it was like it's shipped. I was like, yes, all right. So I would go do it, and it was like label printed,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh crap, it's one of those. It's on the bottom of the ocean,
Yeah.
right?
It's like you guys suck.
But no, it. I got a text like right before the show tonight. It's like it's on its way. It'll be delivered tomorrow. It's moving.
Nice.
Anyway, there's going to be like, can we organize a search and rescue party for Zelda and Loftwing? Can we do that? Like, can we track the ship and just be like, all right, this is where we gotta go down. We gotta dive.
Did you see what Council Cato also said about Skyward Sword?
Irrelevant in 2 weeks.
It'd be irrelevant.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to say she's right. But look at what's happened to Mario Golf. Like, just in the Mario Golf is going huge in our community.
Yeah, we
But like, what about the rest? What about the rest of the world? How many people's talking about? Yeah. Where's Mario Golf? It's
they're
not
all
there.
playing it in their own communities too.
I guess so. I don't know. Let's talk about another announcement that was made today. ATLUS announced today that for Persona's 25th anniversary, they announced more for its 20th anniversary than Nintendo did for Zelda's 35th. 7 brand new products promising to be released between this September and autumn of next year, none of which will come to the Nintendo Switch if it's a mainline Persona game. The image for the first product was in the Persona 4 color scheme, possibly a port to other consoles. Now, here's the deal. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but Persona Strikers is already headed to the bargain bin. All right. It's already selling for $29.99.
Well, it's a third-party game. They always do that.
Well, okay. But everybody talked about, I want Persona on the Switch. Well, how do we get Persona on the Switch? Buy the game at full price. Am I wrong?
It's hard to say because third parties do this, though. They'll discount after it's been out so long. They will discount the game to get more sales.
Yeah, the problem that game had, and it's still a great game. I loved it, and I played it on the Switch. Is it's a sequel to a game that isn't on the Switch.
Yes.
Yes. And Prime 4 is looking like it's going to have that problem. Dread is looking like it's going to have that problem unless they fix something. So,
well, how do you fix that? You do what Grasshopper did in Suda 51, and you release No More Heroes 1 and 2 on the Switch before No More Heroes 3 comes out.
Yep.
Right? I have Persona 5 on PS4. I want to play that game on my Switch because I can't sit in front of the TV for as long as it takes to get through Persona 5. I can't do it. Yeah. But I can carry my Switch everywhere I go and get in an hour or two here or there.
Mm-hmm. A little...
I would buy it today. $60. Put it out. I will pay it.
So this is a little peek into the next news item, but I saw a tweet saying, congratulations to the Vita for no longer being the lowest selling product that'll play Persona 4 Golden.
Oh my God. That is savage. God. Wow. Somewhere a Vita's holding a door shut right now.
Anyway, we're talking. That's reference to Valve's Steam Deck that we'll get to in a minute, where I joked, but not really, saying this is where Square Enix really wants you to play the Final Fantasy games.
That's right. Yeah. This console, let's just roll right into that and talk about this. Okay. So today IGN blew the top off of Valve's brand new console, or let's not call it a console, right? It's a portable PC.
It's a handheld PC.
It's a handheld PC. You can plug it up to a monitor. It becomes the PC. This is coming out later this fall. Pre-orders open tomorrow or today as you're hearing this. 32 gigabytes. Actually, this is wrong in the notes, Jesse. It's 64 gigabytes.
It is 64.
64 gigabyte model for $399. 256 gigabytes for $529. 512 gigabytes for $649. It has complete access to Steam, all your purchases on there, which I gotta admit is pretty cool. But y'all, this thing looks like the Sega Game Gear had a glow up. Like it's like Teenage Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This is the Teenage Game Gear, right? I guess I want to ask this first and foremost. Should Nintendo be worried about the Steam Deck?
I'd say no. It's a different market.
But I think it does take away from those PC owners who did like the Switch. Who did like the Switch and played some of those Steam games. They could, obviously they would have to buy the game twice, but there was a market there where some of those games that you could play in Steam you could cross save and play.
Right, and as our good friend Console Kato is reminding us, you can go on the Steam Deck and play Persona 4 Golden on the go, right? Yeah. But here was something I thought was interesting, seeing people react to it just after it came out. Is this thing a portable Xbox now?
Kind
That
of.
was something I was kind of wondering, was it would, especially if it could play Xbox Cloud, or
Well,
Game Pass Cloud, excuse me.
it sounds
So
like it's got the processor capacity of like the
Well,
original
he
PS4 and the
kept
original Xbox
Gabe
One.
Newell kept reiterating the fact this is not just a console; it's a PC. It's a
Yeah,
PC. So
it
it's
comes
running on
pre-installed with
Linux.
Steam OS. You can format it, install a full-blown version of Windows on it, and download Epic Games Store, GOG, anything else you want, and do what you want with it.
it's Linux based, so anybody who knows Linux can also do all kinds of stuff with it. And
What
it has a
is
Windows. It does have I forget
the
what it's called, but a Windows capability to be able to use Windows apps on it. So
Ebusel here? He in the chat. He's asking the right question. What's the performance when it's not plugged in? Any of you guys catch that? Like, what's battery life like? What's
battery life is supposed to be 5 to 6 hours average.
really?
Yep, and that's based on, it depends on the game and the type of um, processing power that it's going to need to do in order to play that game. So
Yeah, as I found out, like Dragon Quest Builders 2 is a lot more processor intensive on the Switch than, say, Picross.
yeah, so it's going to have the same type of things that we see in the Switch, but it is surprisingly comparable to the Switch as far as, and maybe even better in some cases. But
I really think it's interesting that Nintendo's about to drop pre-orders for its brand new handheld hybrid, and along comes and by the way, we're doing this too, right? It's going to be interesting to see how much this sells. I think
yeah.
it will sell. I think you're right, Tim. I think there will be people who buy it based on the fact that they have entire libraries of Steam games, right?
Yes.
And now lots of third parties coming to Steam as well, like with Assassin's Creed and different things like that. So
Mhm.
it's really going to be
Final Fantasy.
interesting to Final Fantasy, things like that. It's going to be interesting to see, especially when people get it in their hands and they start doing things like running emulators on it and having Nintendo's entire content library for the last 20 some odd years
They'll
on
have
it.
better virtual console than we will.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think that's, like I said this earlier this week, that Metroid, I love how much they're pushing Metroid. Like even today, Nintendo was tweeting about Metroid, right? And tweeting all this stuff about Samus. And I get it. Part of the thing is we've got to market the crap out of this game because we haven't had a 2D Metroid game in 19 years. Like they want us to want this.
Mhm.
But the other thing is that with them highlighting Metroid so much, one of the things that it's bringing to the forefront, at least for me, is, man, getting rid of Virtual Console was such a terrible move for Nintendo. Like we used to complain all the
I don't think
time,
they
like,
had
"Oh
control though for
man,
that.
I gotta pay $5 to $15 or $20 for these games," and now it's like the same people are like, "I'm paying $20 a year and I don't have all of these games." And I remember
The difference is
advocating for
because,
for like a Netflix style service. I
yeah, I
don't
think
want that anymore.
the difference is though is that the other companies realized what they could make from doing collections and stuff.
Collections.
So that's why we lost out. Nintendo wasn't going to be able to do virtual console like they did before because other companies wouldn't have.
Well, and I get that, but I also think that there should have been a way to bridge over purchases. Because I look back at 10 years of virtual console from the Wii through the Wii U,
Mhm.
and there is like, I put some serious bank into that.
Yep. We all
And
jokingly predicted though that this would happen, that somehow we would have to pay for those games again.
right, and now they can't remaster and sell them like Kato's talking about. Like, you know, Mario 64 and Sunshine have proven people will buy that crap. All you have to do is make it widescreen. So say hello to your Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker HD collection next year, which is most assuredly happening. It's got to.
I didn't
They
add
gotta
it to the
get.
notes.
They wanted Skyward Sword to have its moment in the sun, and that's good enough. But
Yep.
Right. So you mentioned Netflix for games. Did you hear that Netflix might get into gaming? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So
And they showed a PS5 controller in their
because
ad
Stadia
too
and
for
Luna
that.
has done so well.
But their thing, I think, is going to be
Are you being sarcastic there?
Yes.
their
Oh
thing
yeah.
is going to be about using the other controllers though too. Use the controller you already have, and to have access to these games, I guess.
Eh,
But I guess it depends on what those games are.
well, maybe. I don't know.
So,
I
and
mean,
speaking of
if it's
controllers,
the same game that's on Game Pass and that's on Luna and it's on Stadia, why would I want it on Netflix too? Right?
right? Well, and speaking of controllers, going back to the PC gaming and what you were talking about with typing in the mouse and stuff like that, I play on my PC with a controller, and that's thanks to Xbox or Game Pass Cloud.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like how they've implemented that and used that. So because that's again, growing up in my time, I'm more used to the console than or a controller than a
Yeah.
keyboard too.
Like the games I'll play on PC, I would normally use keyboard and mouse. Like the Power Wash Simulator,
Yeah.
Portal 2. Those are probably the three games I've played most recently
Sim
on a
City,
PC.
I will use a mouse and keyboard. I'll do that, but yeah, it just depends on the game.
StarCraft kind of has never been good on a
It's
console.
the only game, like the only games I've
StarCraft, yeah.
ever played on a PC
Age of Empire,
was
With
Warcraft, World of Warcraft, StarCraft,
yep, StarCraft 2.
Loop Hero. I will say that I do play. I play Loop Hero on Steam because why? But like I haven't picked it up in forever because the only time I'm around a computer is at my office. I want to go home. I want to sit at my desk. I want to sit on the couch. Right.
Yeah.
I want
Now,
to play it on
see,
there.
now going back to the Steam Deck thing. So you were asking like who's interested in this, right? Or who would get this type of thing? Is I'm interested because it's potentially going to do the things that we wished the Switch did, which was play those higher end games. And you could also connect this console to the TV and play it through your TV. So it's going to do the Steam, what was it, the stream,
Yeah, but I've already got
the
something
Steam
that
thing
can
that they
connect
had
to a
before.
TV. It's called a
Yeah.
computer.
Well, yeah, you can do that, but I mean, it's again, this is portable though. This potentially does the same thing as the Switch, where I can take it
Right.
and play it
But,
wherever I want.
playing it portably having a product that does that makes sense. But having a product that docks like the Switch does seems redundant because there are other products that do that. Switch is unique in that there are no other products besides itself that will let you play Mario Odyssey on a TV.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
But
That's true.
yeah, I guess where I was trying to get at though is like for me, how I view it is I have Steam on my computer. I don't have it connected to my TV in the living room. If I had the Steam Deck and I'm playing that and I can stream Steam from my computer to the Steam Deck to the TV, I mean it's almost like the PS4 when you were able to do, remote play. That type of thing where I was able to play. I have one PS4 in the house and I can remote play it wherever I wanted with my PS Vita. Or, if you had the Vita TV, you could remote stream it that way. So I can see if your main way of playing games is PC games, and then your Switch is your maybe second console because you like Nintendo games. I can see a lot of PC fans really liking the Steam Deck.
I think I heard in the IGN video that currently, at least as of that beta prototype, saves are not transferable between it and your desktop, but they're working on having that compatible. So
Okay.
until it is, that's kind of moot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about some game releases here that we've learned in the last week or so. Today, we also learned that Pokemon Unite will be launching on Nintendo Switch July 21st. NBA 2K22 will be coming out on September 10th. If you pre-order it from GameStop, you actually get a basketball.
Is that what that
Apparently,
was?
it
I
was
saw
so
the
mind it was so mind blowing to Wario 64. He tweeted again after he tweeted the first link, and he was like, "It's an actual basketball."
I saw that, but I didn't understand the context. I saw the basketball with the 2K22 logo on it.
Yeah. It will be, let's see, the Cross Gym digital bundle will be $20 more.
Yeah, here's where the developer gets gross, I think.
Yeah. Cross Gym digital bundle will be $20 more for PlayStation and Xbox. The NBA 75th anniversary edition will be available for $100, but it will only be digital for Switch. And it contains a bunch of extras that aren't included in the base game. And in our notes here, we've kind of written this. It's kind of like pre-purchasing microtransactions and virtual currency. Oh,
I tried listing out the
EA,
differences, and I'm like, these are just
2K,
all
never
microtransaction
change.
garbage.
You people are great.
Then
Speaking of EA,
speaking of, I was gonna say, speaking of gross
and
publishers.
garbage. Also, we're getting another another version of FIFA 18 on the Switch, except this time it's called FIFA 22. So it's coming out on October 1st. It's again the Legacy Edition, $39.99. Other consoles versions are $59.99. I can't wait for IGN's review of FIFA 22
for the fourth time
this year. I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic.
I think we do have a question talking about this. I don't know if you want to do that now or just hit it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do
let me
it.
Find it. Jesus Amada. Okay, EA is just making fun of us with this legacy updates of FIFA. Yes, there are customers for it, or else they wouldn't no longer sell it. However, I did purchase FIFA 18 when it came out, and everyone I know told me that I would regret it. Honestly, I did not. I did enjoy it, even though it was not the same in comparison to the other systems. Ever since then, they have not changed the game at all. I understand that the claim power isn't there, but why give us something so lackluster? Would you prefer third-party games to be on the system at all? Or would Nintendo fans be better serviced by not getting a subpar game and pursuing it on another system? What's a good compromise for something like this? I have a proposal, but I'll let you guys answer that first before I give mine.
So this is where I think the old adage of the two console house comes in, or the two console residence, however you want to call it. You have the Switch Plus something, right? You have the Switch Plus the PS4 or PS5. You have the Switch Plus Xbox
I've
One.
been Nintendo and Sony ever since the PS2 GameCube era.
And so in that way, you don't have to pursue it on the Switch unless you just really want to take it with you. There are some games, and Persona 5, as like we talked about earlier, I would rather take that with me. But for something like this, where it's clearly they're doing nothing, right? Except changing some names and jerseys.
For the third year in a row.
There is no reason to buy this on the Switch.
Yeah. When doing a little research, I noticed whenever they put out the new version of the Legacy Edition, they delist the last one.
Of course they do.
So
they want you to have to buy it at full price.
So the only
they're charging for it.
So like right now, you can buy FIFA 21 for the Switch or FIFA 15 for the 3DS, and that's it.
Yeah, so
until this releases, then I'm sure 21 will get
October 1st, 22 will be all you can buy, and that's really crappy. I
think this might be the first year they actually discounted
this game. Tim, your thoughts here before I say anything else.
This is what makes me mad about EA, and this is where I could end up going off and may go off because this is just laziness again on EA side. And if it's a specific team, I'm sorry, EA, but it's representative of you. So again, you're being lazy, you're being stupid, and you are using that argument they came up with before. They're like, we see our customers who prefer playing on these other consoles. Well, it's because you're not even giving it a chance. You're not even trying. Obviously there's sales there, so because you keep releasing it, but you're not even doing anything even to the legacy copy. You're not even you're updating the teams, but you can't update the graphics, you can't learn something from the system to make it better, after reiteration after reiteration. It's fine if you want to keep it legacy because of the graphics, and keep it that way, but build on that, make it better, do something, add to it the following year, build on that legacy engine and make it for the Switch. And I've talked about this before. It's like you build to cater to the audience. So fine, you're using that engine, great, use that engine and improve on it for the Switch people.
When they first did the Legacy Edition, what I thought that was like, oh, we caught them in the middle of a console cycle or dev cycle, and so they're going to do this Legacy Edition, and then the next year it'll be better, right? I think that's what some people hoped. I think that's what a lot of people thought, but then
that's a negatory.
It's just happened over and over and over again, and it just like, why do people keep buying it?
Yeah, the EA Sports side is the frustrating part of EA for me. I'll put it that way. It's because I've been happy for the past couple of years because they've been bringing the games that I enjoy, like the racing games and stuff, over. But the EA Sports side is what makes me sad as a Nintendo owner. Yes, great. I could go to my PlayStation, or I can go to now the Xbox or the Game Pass Cloud. But why can't I, as a fan from EA's past, be able to play some of those style of games on my Switch? We're in a generation.
Just say the name. Why can't you play
NHL Rewind? Why not bring that over the Switch? Because it's good for this generation. Why not do a rewind?
It would be great for this generation.
Bring over a rewind series where you can use that engine, have an NHL Rewind, have a Madden Rewind, have an NBA Rewind, have a Triple Play Rewind, whatever, the whole gambit of sports we could have Rewind on the Switch. And you would have tons of people and make money to get this stuff. It's there. We've seen the numbers. We played the numbers.
The biggest miss of this console generation has been absolutely what you just said, and stuff like Disney Afternoon Collection, which is Nintendo games that were on the NES not coming to the Switch.
That's not knowing. It's, again, being lazy, not knowing, just looking at numbers and not studying the data. There's data there that says you have generations who played Super Nintendos, GameCubes, N64s, all the stuff that EA used to be on with Nintendo are hungry for those same games. And even if they were playing them on other systems like Sega Genesis or PlayStation, they are still hungry for those classics, and they're not bringing them.
Okay. Imbecile's got some good things in the chat here. He said Deadly Discs Rewind. Okay, I'm all for that.
Okay.
That's an Intellivision game reference. He goes, he also says, didn't IGN give the last one a 4?
Yes.
I looked it up. He got a 2.
A 2.
Yeah.
All right.
And I thought this was the first year they actually discounted it. And the review I pulled up confirmed that. Last year it was $50.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, so my solution, which I think would make everyone happy for doing just as little effort, still sell FIFA 18 at its retail price with this FIFA 18 roster. If you want to get a latest roster, $10 DLC. Done. You still have the same game. You still have FIFA 18 on the shelves and in the eShop. Yep. And just add a little more DLC every year.
That's why I'm pissed, because they're not even doing that type of thing. And that's something they even speculated on doing even back in the Genesis days. They speculated. That's why you had that yellow tab on the side of it, because they had speculated that there would be a place for you to be able to update your rosters every year. But no, they obviously are a corporation. They want to make money. So, and Jesse, to add to that, they could do one of two things. They could update the roster if you had 18 or 19 or 20, buy the DLC to update the roster next, or EA does what they're already doing: stop making 18, 19, and 20,
Well, see,
and
there's another
release
reason for that.
21.
It's because they also have all the microtransaction garbage.
Yes.
But if they did what I had solved, then all that microtransaction would stack. But every time you buy a new game, all that resets, and you have to start over with buying your DLC.
No, I'm just saying if you buy a new game, you bought the new game because you didn't have the previous one. So they can still keep
Right.
selling, the latest iteration as a 21, 22, or whatever.
I
But
know everybody
as
is wanting
the old
that.
one, you buy the DLC.
I know everybody when they think EA, they think the legacy sports titles. Tim, like Madden, NHL, all that stuff. Rewind. I would love to see Mutant League rewind, but the real reason that they're not doing this is because they know if they did James Pond rewind, it would be over. They'd never be able to make anything else. It would just be
That's not EA
yearly.
Sports,
It
though.
would be yearly iterations of James Pond,
I'm
just
talking
like
about
Call of
just
Duty.
EA Sports. EA itself can do whatever they
No,
want as far as remasters.
EA Sports would be absorbed into working on James Pond, like everything at Activision has been absorbed into working on Call of Duty. They ought to just
What do they
they
have,
ought to
like
just
four
release this
studios now
game every
working on Call of
year.
Duty games?
What?
What do they have, like 4 studios now working on Call of Duty
Every
games?
studio at Activision is working on Call of Duty.
Oh,
Toys for Bob is working on Call of Duty.
that's
Everything.
gross.
It absolutely, absolutely gross. You're exactly right.
Which is kind of
We
sad from the company that gave me my favorite Atari 2600 game, Pitfall
Yep.
2, is now they've come to this.
But that's out there. That's what's happening,
They're going to make
guys.
Call of Duty Pitfall.
Yeah. Call it. Hey, look there. Pitfall rewind. That's all you got to do. You got. Hey, I've got a question I'd like us to discuss for just a moment. So let's do
Okay.
that, shall we? All right, guys. So here it is. It is Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary. All right.
Yes,
We're
it
at
is.
least we're celebrating. All right. So my question for you guys tonight and for the chat and everybody watching, listening, you can tweet us, you can hit us up on our email over at nintendodads@gmail.com or any of our socials. Or if you're watching live right now, would love to know what is your favorite Donkey Kong game. It can be Donkey Kong had an appearance in it. It could be about Donkey Kong. It could be anything that Donkey Kong is in. What is your favorite Donkey Kong game?
Donkey Kong 3. No, I'm just kidding. But no, my serious answer would be the original Donkey Kong arcade. I did like Donkey Kong Country in the SNES. I did 101% it, but I ain't going to do that again. And I tried like the returns on Wii, and I got to a point where I just got fed up with the game. So I don't like how difficult it's gotten. So I'm out of that franchise. But so I would say the original arcade is my favorite.
Okay. Tim, what about you? Favorite Donkey Kong game?
The Mario versus Donkey Kong games are my favorite. I guess probably
Okay.
the Mini Land for the DS one. I think that was the one I liked. I was trying to look it up real quick.
March
They
of the
did quite a
Minis?
few. Yeah.
Didn't they do like a kind of 3D one a few
Yeah,
years ago?
there was quite a few of them out, but I really
It's like
enjoyed those
something
games. They were
tipped. Is it that one?
Tipping Stars.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Tipping
Yeah.
Stars. I don't think I played that one actually.
So the games in the subline are Mario versus Donkey Kong, Mario versus Donkey Kong March of the Minis,
Yeah.
Mario versus Donkey Kong Minis March Again, Mini Land Mayhem,
Yeah.
Minis on the Move, Tipping Stars, and then the update to that Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge.
Then Donkey Kong for Game Boy pretty much grandfathered that series, or
Yep.
DK94 as some people would say.
Yeah, yeah, and that's probably mine.
I think it's
My
March of the Minis is the one I think I'm thinking of.
My
Yeah.
favorite Donkey Kong game is the one that came out on the same day as the Game Boy, as the Super Game Boy. for the Super Nintendo, the Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, where it expanded on the original formula, but just did it in such a really cool way. Man, that is a game that deserves a remake.
Yeah. When I first played that on an emulator, I didn't know what the game was going to do. I thought it was just kind of an enhanced version of the original arcade. So when I went through, played the arcade as you'd play the arcade, when I beat the Rivet stage and Donkey Kong got away, I'm like, what just happened? And then I went into the real game, and I'm like, okay, that was fun for a few levels, but I didn't like that play. And therefore, I've tried a few of the other games he's listed, and none of them I got very far in. But again, I like that original arcade stuff.
Gotcha. So
Mecca asks, I would answer, yes, this does count. He goes, does the DK Mario and Rabbids DLC count? I said, yeah, that counts. That's Donkey Kong.
Sure. Absolutely. So right here in the chat, here's some of what you have said. Quag311 says Donkey Kong Country for the SNES. Mecha Dragon says Donkey Kong Country Returns. Ninfrendo says 94. Hambone Johnny 94 on Game Boy. But the original Donkey Kong Country is my favorite. Ebucel says DK 94. Mecha Dragon, of course, DK Mario and Rabbids DLC. Nobody said Donkey Kong 64. Well, there's a reason for that. Third Strongest Mole says Diddy Kong Racing. Ebucel asks, is Donkey Kong in Mario Hotel? No. Stephen M says DK for Game Boy is my favorite. I got it for my birthday. Got to play it early because we evacuated from a hurricane during what was supposed to be my birthday party weekend. I was disappointed. But, hey, look, I bet it all turned out okay. I mean, got to play it early, right? I remember getting it. I was on a business trip with my dad. So it's kind of like, vacation business trip or whatever. And I remember walking into like EB Games or something and seeing it was out with the Super Game Boy, right? But here's the thing. I didn't have my Game Boy with me. So I couldn't play the game, and I couldn't use the Super Game Boy, of course, because I didn't have anything with me. But when I got home, the first time I ever played it was on the big screen in color through the Super Game Boy. So it was really cool. I really enjoy it. Does Diddy Kong Racing even count? Donkey Kong isn't even in the game. Kong's in the title. We'll count it. How about that?
So Stephen confused his answer. He was disappointed because at first he asked for Donkey Kong Land on Game Boy and got that instead, but it became his favorite.
Oh, okay. Cool. Nobody said Donkey Konga. Nobody said Donkey Kong Bongo Bash or whatever it was for. And wasn't there a weird one for DS where like you had to use it was like King of Swing or something like that?
Yeah.
You had to use the L and R buttons and like.
I tried that when I got a virtual console. I didn't like that.
Just make a dang Donkey Kong game. Make a 2D game. God. Just make me.
I did enjoy. I did like Donkey Kong and played the hell out of that on the Game Boy.
Where in the crap?
GameCube.
Where in the crap is King K. Rool? Like the Donkey Kong 3 just beat him and he's like, nah, I'm done. I'm not going to conquer Donkey Kong Island anymore.
He's in Smash now.
He's in Smash.
He's training for that.
It's worked out for him. But like, I don't need like evil musical instruments or evil penguins or whatever. Those are dumb villains. Bring the Kremlings back. Do it right. Donkey Kong, King K. Rool. There you go.
So no one else had Donkey Kong 3.
No, nobody said that. Jungle Climber is the name of the game I was referring to, I think. So, yeah. So anyway, go play some Donkey Kong games this weekend and celebrate the big monkey on his 40th anniversary. I promise you it'll be a good time. Let's talk about a couple of events. Actually, just one event, right? Jesse?
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into
Pokémon
detail.
GO Fest.
Yeah, Pokemon. I'm not going to go into detail because we've talked about this before. Just a quick reminder: Pokemon GO Fest 2021 is this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. local time each day. And so I will probably, most likely do some live streaming. I did last year, At least on Saturday. Sunday is mostly raids, so I'm not going to be able to stream that because I need to be out and about. But I'm probably going to do some streaming on Saturday.
Awesome. So check out our channel for some Pokemon GO Fest 2020 and go buy you a Mimikyu hat so you too can have paid DLC for Pokemon Go. There you go. Let's talk about what we've been playing. Guys, I'm going to let you both here at the front talk about, y'all are still playing Doki Doki Literature Club.
Well, at least in my case, I pretty much wrapped it up. You know, and the only reason why I put it down here is because Tim and I did a spoiler cast that went out this last weekend. We wanted to kind of give that a plug in case you somehow missed it on our feed. It's there, so go check it out behind this episode.
There you go.
And it's what hour 40, hour 45. So we talked quite a bit about it.
Okay.
It was great. Jesse had a slideshow and everything, but only us as podcasters could see.
I put more effort into that than any presentation I did for my college classes.
It was a lot of fun to talk about.
I had a 91-page slide deck.
And my part of Doki Doki is just I didn't get 100% of the extra stuff, the extra content, which I'm trying to do because there's some extra stories there. So, and I got 2 of the 6, I believe. Yeah, there's 6 of them. So,
and then I also wanted to mention that the game got updated to 1.0.3, which I don't know if it fixed any bugs earlier in the game, but it adds 1 new element in the side stories, and that was missing also in the PS4 version. And when they patched that in the PS4, my son finally got his platinum trophy.
Nice.
Well, there you go.
So the people who somehow got the platinum trophy before 1.0.3 came out, somehow I hacked it, because it's not possible to get it if it's not in the game.
Interesting. Interesting. Jesse, what else have you been playing?
Okay, so I played a little bit of Mario Golf Super Rush, mainly to try to keep up with the monthly Mayhem tournament. So I put in a pretty decent score. I think Tim tied with me at 9 under par last week, and this week is a much more difficult game that I played before earlier today and got par, and I'm like, okay, and I don't, and with everything going on Saturday, that only leaves tomorrow to try to improve myself. So if I don't, that I might just be submitting my 55-minute par run.
This week's is brutal. Can I just say that?
It is.
I'm
not a fan of it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've tried it 3 times. It's not fun.
Yeah, I double bogeyed a 5 par. So that
yeah, it's not fun. I'm gonna be honest with you. A picture-in-picture of where your ball is going while you're running after it would be really helpful.
Yeah, that was one. That was one I was trying to. I was running toward the pin, not where my ball is, and like overshot it by like double the distance. So I don't know how much time I wasted trying to run back.
And you people who are out there getting like 18 under par and stuff, you can go kick rocks. I'm just gonna say that. Like you just get out of here. Like that. That's unnatural.
That's rubbing
that's unnatural.
it in.
It's like, oh, I got a hole in one on like 5 holes. Shut up. Get out of here. I know that I can't win money in this, but this makes me feel bad at video games.
Yeah, our 9 under par still put us in like what 23rd place out of 36.
Yeah,
which is kind of sad.
I'm trying to remember what I think my score last night. Like I recorded it, and the other 2 that I've tried today, I just gave up on. Was like 56 minutes. I was like, this is stupid. It's ridiculous.
I haven't had time to try it yet, so
anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can't wait to try it now. From what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah, so we only have 2 days left to
I know.
Get in our scores. Otherwise, we get a 0. We don't want that.
No.
So better to
You don't want a 0.
send in a par score than a 0 score.
Right,
Tonight or
right.
tomorrow.
And I
I'll have
dropped
to get it in.
nine under par last week for the first one, so I'm right there with you. But man, like there are people who's like, oh yeah, I just do a casual run, 19 under par, it's no big deal.
I think the first place it was like a 3-way tie at 23 under. I think he said.
Uh,
Like that's just inhuman.
anyway,
So then
cool.
I also finished up Pictooi. When I got to the 20 by 20s, I didn't have any problems with those last few pages. That third to last page is what gave me the most grief. But once after we recorded last week's show, I didn't have any problems with the rest. So again, I like the interface of Jupiter's games better. It wasn't horrible, but it definitely could use some improvement.
Jesse, I want to know if you saw that there are Game and Watch pixel puzzle games coming out next week.
Yeah,
on the
I
Switch.
think Justin said he was going to try to get codes for me.
Yeah. So like, not only is it Picross, but it's like a Game and Watch.
Yeah, it's like
So
the Switch is simulating a Game and Watch. It's like rendered in 3D on the Switch, and you actually play it like a Game and Watch with the liquid crystals and all that stuff.
it looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
Not for me, but
they've got a Picross. They have a Pixel Lines, which those I'm okay at, and then they have a third type of game I don't like. It's like you the grid is a mix of on and off lights, and you need to turn all the lights on or off, and depending on which button you do.
if I could just get the Pixel Lines one, I would probably do it.
Yeah. I think it's all three in one bundle. So
Yeah.
but so I probably won't
Anyway.
play those much, but at least play the Picross and the Pixel Lines.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I've been doing the just every now and then go back to Pixel. What's it? Is it Pixel Lines? Is that what it's called?
Pixel Lines.
Yeah, I go back to the first one, Pixel Lines, to do the bonus puzzles. Like I'm in the dinosaurs now, so it's like the 128 by 128.
I've only got. I remember only finishing one of those.
And so I just remembered that I have the second one, the 500 extra puzzles, and I've never booted it up. So I bought it when it came out. So I've got another 500 puzzles sitting there that I guess I'll get to eventually. Probably not.
Yep. So I know. So like next week, we've got there's like 3 games coming out next week. I'm wanting, including Zelda that comes out in 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Tim, what have you been playing besides DDLC?
That was it. Actually, I got to play that a little bit after, I think the next day after we had our little podcast, and then, or actually that same night, and then the next day. But I haven't been able to play much else since then. I do have on deck though, Ender Lilies. So I hope to be either streaming a Let's Play of that sometime between now and Sunday. Because I'm very interested in how that plays out, because it's an action adventure RPG, an action RPG. So I just by looking at it, I would say go check out Ender Lily's video and see the what it looks beautiful, and looks like potentially I thought maybe it might be a Metroidvania type game, but there's no indication that it is. But I'm going by looks alone right now, and also that it's an action RPG. I'll say those two things is what got me interested in this. And of course, we got a code for it, so I volunteered to take that because I'm very interested by those two things. And the story in regards to, basically, if I remember correctly, because hopefully I don't screw this up, but or get it up actually, but it's basically a game that's a village of people, a bunch of people that died from this thing, and then you are a spirit that's coming back to try to beat whatever's taken over this town, and you're fighting against a lot of the other people who have perished, and you gain them if you beat them as part of your party or part of your abilities to be able to fight other things. It kind of gave me that Mega Man vibe in that regard, to where you can go any route you want and fight certain bosses, and you gain that boss's ability or that boss to be part of your abilities. Because if you look at the trailer, it looks like that boss comes out and does the actual action for you. So, and then with that ability, then you're able to do other things. So I'm still I want to be able to play it, get a feel for it, and be able to explain it better, like maybe next Thursday, or of course, when I stream it, you'll see it then too. But there are some things that are intriguing about it because of that the mechanic, like I said, that I explained there. Plus the graphics look beautiful. It's kind of got Children of the Light kind of feel. Plus, what's that one where it was all silhouettes? One of the first ones that came out, where you just kind of see the silhouette of the kid running around. Do you guys remember that one? The silhouette of the kid running around.
I don't remember the name.
Limbo.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to think
I remember the big spider.
Yes. It kind of gave me those vibes as well, because the spirit you see, and it's very, it's kind of like white and stuff like that, and there's other colorful things, but then there's some other kind of Limbo vibes to me in it as well. So those are the things that stuck out to me, and the reason why I was interested in trying this out. So look out for me to post something about a stream for that, hopefully sometime between now and Sunday. And like I said, I've been playing much, but hopefully to get back to playing something.
Yeah. And that's kind of my story this week. I've been playing Mario Golf. That's it.
That's the other thing I need to catch up on too.
Mario Golf.
That, of course.
And honestly, like, I had to rush through a part of the game because our monthly Mayhem challenge this week was in a course that I had not unlocked yet. So I had to rush through this other part that was very frustrating. Cross-country golf. Yeah. Like, hit your ball into these tornadoes and they'll work 45% of the time.
Yeah, I did not like that part.
So what I understand is you can unlock it from the story mode, but also you can unlock it if you practice the course. If I understood that correctly.
I think they said you start off with one course unlocked, play that as an 18 hole, you'll unlock the next one.
Okay. So you actually don't have to do the story mode. You can actually just go play each course.
I've already unlocked the one after Balmy Dunes, which is like a weather, like a rainy course. But anyway,
I think that's what I was trying to get at here.
That's as far as I've gotten to. I haven't played that in the adventure mode yet.
Well, I've been trying to do the monthly Mayhem challenge, and then today I realized I've been neglecting my Fortnite, and so I hopped on Fortnite and leveled up 7 levels in about 2 games. So I had all these challenges piled up, and so I played, and I saw that they have put LeBron James in the game.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, he's got an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
He's got a.
Did you see that pack that Sean Capri got?
Yeah, that
was pretty cool. Nice.
That was pretty nice. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, Mario Golf Super Rush and Fortnite. That's what I've been playing. It feels like that's pretty much what I play every week. It's like, hey, I'm playing Fortnite.
Well, it's like your comfort food, though, right? Right?
Yeah, it kind of is. I think this season's pretty cool. So
it could be worse. It could be Apex Legends.
I'm not touching that game again. So anyway, let's turn on the community spotlight, shall we? All right, Tim, take it away, man.
Yes, sir. So we got quite a few things from the community. We got emails and chats, and I think we even got a voicemail, right, Jesse? Yep. starting with the email we got from Russ G. We got one of my top 10 games on the Switch is Yoku's Island Express. I like pinball games in general and recently picked up Metroid Prime Pinball for the DS with Rumble Pack accessories. Yes! The Rumble Pack really adds to the experience and I'm really enjoying it. I wish Nintendo would release their own pinball collection of pinball games they've made over the years. That's a good idea. Anyway, the question, what are your favorite console accessories for which game and why? Handheld or not?
The first thing I'm thinking of is the one I didn't like, and I actually returned it. They had back with the Guitar Hero craze.
Oh yes.
I bought Guitar Hero for DS.
Yes.
And
I had
that hurt.
Oh my gosh. Who thought that was a good idea?
I loved mine. I thought it was great.
So yeah,
It's awesome.
I didn't get much into that. Trying to think of things I liked. I remember the original Game Boy had the light with the magnifier.
Yes.
The
monstrosity.
The light boy. Yeah, that was good.
I remember like my senior year in high school when we were doing. I was in the orchestra, so we had to sit through the choir shows during the holiday season. You know, like 4 performances plus a dress rehearsal, so 5 of these a year. And I was so sick of Christmas carols for 20 years before. Anyway, but so we couldn't leave and come back. We were stuck in the orchestra pit for this 3-hour show where we only played 20 minutes of it. So I would have my Game Boy with the light, the earphones, playing that during the choir show. My band teacher said, "Yeah, I don't care as long as you don't disturb people with it."
Yeah.
So he didn't care.
I'm gonna say 2 things. One for I guess nostalgia, or it wouldn't be necessarily nostalgia because I was, well, anyways, for an older device and a newer device. The older device being the Game Boy Advance SP. I really loved Super Mario Brothers 3 on the Game Boy Advance because of the e-reader, the card reader. I had a lot of fun using that card reader accessory with the Mario Brothers 3 game. And that was the first thing that popped in my mind was that. And I just thought of another thing too, but I'm gonna be here all day. I love accessories, and I don't know why. It's just I love trying out new accessories for a lot of devices. But the other one I really like is the and I swear I'm not trying to promote them, and they're not going to send me a check. But I really like the Fixture S1 for my Switch, to be able to use my Pro controller with that and the tablet, in that mode. The only issue now is if I do get the OLED, I wonder if it will still work with that because of that 1mm.
I think it will. I think it will.
Yeah, but I really like that in the case and stuff that they gave me, and which was really cool.
Yeah. So for mine, I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you guys right here on our end, and then I'm going to also drop this link into the follow along chat. My favorite accessory, one of them is this controller that I had for the Super Nintendo called is that pronounced? How do you pronounce it? ASCII pad from ASCIIware. So I loved it originally because it was in Super Famicom colors, right?
Yes.
Because the button layout YXBA, it's the exact Famicom colors, but each button has its own slider where you can change it from off to turbo to auto. And then there was also a setting for slow.
Yeah.
So literally basically what we do is it would pause and unpause the game really quickly.
It's a turbo for a start button.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You look at it and it doesn't look like all that much, but I remember the feel of this controller in my hand was just awesome. I love the Super Nintendo controller anyway. So I had a friend who he wanted one of my games. I couldn't find this controller anywhere. He had it. I said, I'll trade you the game for the controller. Boom. So I
Nice.
got the controller.
There you
And
go.
actually, if I remember it right, I believe that it had a longer cord than the regular the Nintendo issued Super Nintendo controller. So it
Nice.
allowed me to sit further away from the TV and play. I just love that. The other one is I've already talked about it on the show. Um, is the Super Game Boy for the Super Nintendo.
Hmm.
Being able to go back and play all my Game Boy games on the big screen, and playing around for a while with the color palettes because you could put 4 colors, right? So
Yep.
like playing around with those and seeing what it would suggest for games, I loved that so much. And then just recently, um, I love this controller from Powerade. These
Yes.
Powerade wireless controllers that they sell with the branding on them. This one is exclusive to Walmart. It's a Super Mario 3 branding, but they run off batteries is the only kind of like, I guess, knock on them. But I love this controller. They're super responsive. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's also cheaper, right? So you can get them like they brand these things in all kinds of first party Nintendo stuff, like Mario. Well, I mean, my son he wanted a Cuphead one for his birthday, and we got him that, and that's the only thing he plays on now. And they just introduced. I love this. They just introduced a Waluigi Powerade controller,
Wow.
and I'm gonna have to get it.
This is
Yeah,
the Pro Fusion one that they came out with that I really
yeah,
love.
that one's really cool too.
I just wish that the fixture clip fit this because I would use this more with that fixture clip.
Absolutely.
So you tell me your list kind of brought back a few other accessories so I'll kind of rapid fire them.
Yeah.
The NES Advantage, SNES Advantage.
Oh,
Kind of
wow.
the same reasons. The Game Boy Player for GameCube. And I liked the N64 transfer pack. So you can, like, if you had Pokemon Red, Green, Yellow, and then you could import them into Stadium and use your Pokemon in Stadium. And then Stadium 2 had Gen 2 support. And then though I never found out, I always assumed that like the game ROM was in the cartridge and only accessed the save data, but it might have been actually playing the game off the cart, but it'll let you can play just with the transfer pack. You can play red, blue, and yellow on the TV that way.
Interesting.
And it kind of gave a Super Game Boy like border. I don't think it was exactly the same as if you put them into Super Game Boy, but it was very similar.
Mm. Did that come out before the Super Game Boy, or was that after? No, you said 64, right? Because
this was
so it would have been
64.
out after. Okay. Yep. One of the things
Jesse's over here teaching me something because I had no clue what the Super Advantage was, and now I'm going and look at this. This thing is nuts.
Yeah.
The Super Advantage joystick for the Super Nintendo, man.
Yeah, I remember
that is
playing
wild.
when I first played Final Fantasy VI. I rocked that joystick on that, and
nice.
Why?
well, because there was one area where you were on a raft, and all of the default choices would just put you in a loop. So I set it up with turbo and just have to push the button down, and it just kept looping through us all day.
I got you.
Auto winning fights,
There you
and
go.
I was like way over leveled. But by the time I got home from school,
I love it.
You guys mentioned controllers. One of my favorites for the GameCube was the Airflow. I think it was Mad Cats or something. I mentioned
it
this.
had fans in it.
It had fans in it, and I mentioned this before, and somebody brought it up and said that they actually made another one for the Switch, and I did see that. It was actually maybe Nyko or something, but yeah, they do have a newer version out for the Switch. But yeah, it was one of my favorite controllers because it worked. Because my hands will get pretty sweaty, and it was nice to get that.
Sweaty
Ebersol-
hands.
Even Ebersol said the river grind, so he knew exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
So
Man, that's a good question.
Yeah, it was great. And going back to his what he was saying about Metroid Prime Pinball, I love that game. One of my favorite Metroid games. I mentioned during the Retro Logic Metroid show that Metroid Pinball was Prime Pinball was one of my favorites in the Metroid games. And it actually was the reason why I went back to try out a lot of the other Nintendo pinball games that they came out with. So I would love to see a Nintendo collection of those pinball games. That would be awesome. So, like Marty said, great question. All right, questions from the chat. Mecha Dragon 101. Question about live streaming. Any advice on trying to stream a game that requires focus while also still being with the chat?
Sometimes you just gotta be quiet.
Yeah, basically, if you need focus to get past the affection, focus it. The chat will understand.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll forget to look at the chat like every 5 or 10 minutes. I'll remember. So I'll just glance at my other monitor. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a chat here, and then respond. But if I get into another area where I got to concentrate, that's where my focus is.
Nice. Yep. All right. So great question, Mecha, as usual. And we have a voice mail from Mecha too. Why don't we do that one while we're doing that?
Sure.
While we're on Mecha here.
Hey, Nintendo Dads, it's me, Mecha Trigger 101. So I thought that I'll send in my message via voice message this week instead. So with the release of the Skyward Sword HD remaster tomorrow, and people bringing up the debate on is this game really worth X amount of dollars? This is your dad's opinion on that. Do any of your dads have some kind of strange and weird formula on determining how much a game is worth? For me, if I can tell that some work has been done on the game, I'm okay with the game being at $40 to $60, depending on my work done. For example, people think that the Link to Awakening remake should have been at least $20. I'm just looking at them like they're crazy because, do you think like doing all that clay animation style graphics took like Nintendo like an afternoon to do? No, it took them a while to do, especially to even think of that graphics. But anyway, hopefully that makes sense. Looking forward to the podcast tonight, and yeah, I hope to see you guys later tonight. Thank you so much. Mecha out.
Thanks, Mecha. That was Marty, what you think in regards to his in regards to the Skyward Sword being $60 or games like it?
Yeah, like I've seen this coming up in another place recently too, as people talk about Metroid Dread and the question of should a 2D game be $60? And I think that's like, hear me in love when I say that. That's a really arrogant question. Like, because we're talking about people's livelihoods. And yeah, I mean, you don't know how much time has gone into creating that game.
Because these are still 3D models, even though the game
$60.
plays on 2D.
And
it's
so
it's just the camera's
Skyward
fixed.
Sword thing, I think everybody's, like everybody's really quick to rush to say, well, if it's a remake, it should be cheaper. But what we don't realize is that there's a lot of ground up building that has to happen even for a remake to happen.
Yeah,
it's not like you don't just like take the water in Skyward Sword for the Wii and pour it into the Skyward Sword HD bucket and everything just goes bloop, 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 and just gets better.
Yeah, all the art assets need to be redrawn from scratch, most of them. They probably use still the same models in most cases, but they all got new textures. All the background, again, a lot of the background stuff I think is done through an engine to upgrade it, but it's still, someone had to develop the engine to do that upgrade.
Right.
That isn't just something that just you can buy off the shelf. And then, there's still quality of life upgrades that requires effort. But the only thing that isn't part of the design process in this type of game versus the original is the actual original game design process. The game is still the game, but everything had to have been touched up in some way or another that is still effort by the programmers and the artists and the designers' part.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he makes a good point in the chat here. If that's the logic we follow, then why is it Final Fantasy VII Remake $20?
right.
It's gonna
Right.
be, and I mean,
Instead,
again,
that'll be $300 after all the parts come out.
right? Yeah, I mean, I think you just like ideally, would we like the game to be cheaper because it's a game that's already been released? Sure. Is that necessarily the right thing to do? Probably not.
Yeah, but in my case, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the price tag is. I'm going to buy it. So, while I understand other people's financial situations are different than mine, and that they do have to actually think about, do I do this now? Do I wait till it's on the sale? Do I never do this? But in my case, it's I'm playing this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of work and effort that they did in this, and we've seen it. And there's a lot of people who said, why didn't Nintendo tell us that they did this, this, and this from the very beginning? And maybe they're probably saying that because maybe they wouldn't complain as much as they did if they knew, all the enhancements they did and the quality of life things that they added to the game. So, but you guys are all dead on. I mean, I'd just be repeating what you were saying, but you can see it, especially when they talk about the game, and there might be even other things we're not even aware of yet too. So that maybe people will discover as they're playing.
Mecha adds, if it was a port, sure, but if it's work done, you got to pay for it. But even you can't just take a source code for one console, drop it into the Switch compiler, and expect it to work. It's going to need work to get it to work on a Switch. If just syntax for whatever language it happens to use, I'm sure there's going to be subtle differences, to be console specific, and I think just because the Switch is a lighter processor than say an Xbox, they have to find ways to shrink it down in order for it to work. Like they might trim down particle effects and other things that are relatively unnecessary to make everything work at 30 frames or 60 frames a second.
Do you think it comes down to consumer versus the publisher or developer trust between the two? Like, for example, are we having a hard time trusting that a company like Nintendo is saying, yes, we had to put in effort into this game, thus we are going to charge $60 for it, versus when we look at the Mario trilogy of games, they put 3 games into there for, what was it, $60 as well, right? So,
but yeah,
and those were ported.
Well, emulated, but still, there was effort done to.
There was still effort, but if you look at the cost
to make it work on a Switch,
right? There was tweaks made, but it was $60, but you got 3 games out of it.
Yeah.
So, is it a matter of trust? That are we not trusting a developer that they actually had to put in what they're asking to?
I'd say it's more the publisher than developer, but in this case,
publisher, yeah.
Nintendo is both. But I'll throw it at the counter argument here. EA FIFA, we just talked about, they still want to charge $40 for something that they did little to nothing.
And so, is it because of companies like that we don't trust anybody in regards to are you really putting that effort in? And why are you charging me $60? My perception as a customer, it seems like you're not putting that much effort into it. So I'm going to say it shouldn't be 60. It should be 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, whatever.
I have a developer's mind, so I know what goes into some of this stuff. Even though I've never made a game myself, I still know what goes into making an app. But still, that, roster updates.
You still understand there's coding involved. So yes.
Yeah. I know that things require art access, texture updates, etc.
Right. So, and I think that's as somebody who may not know that, maybe it is just a trust. We have to believe a company is putting in the effort that they're asking in return in cost. So, and that's where we start, where people who don't understand that or want to believe it or they're questioning it, that's where it all comes in, I think. But great discussion points, of course, as always. And thanks again, Mecha, for the 2 questions this week. All right, next one comes from a question on our Discord from Chris. HL94 in Canada. I have a question for the host and community. This question came to me after listening to the last Dad's After Dark episode. What is the most difficult game you have ever played? Follow up, I will ask after you guys answer this. What is the most difficult game you guys ever played?
Wow.
I don't normally play difficult games. Like I tried several of them. Like I mentioned Donkey Kong Country Returns earlier. Didn't get far. I've tried Dark Souls. That lasted even less.
I think for me, it would have to go back to the days of the NES or the SNES. I'm gonna have to think for a minute.
Yeah, like
Um,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think I remember finishing that game
that
eventually.
one's I know that I didn't finish that one.
Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 I've beaten on the NES.
Wow. Okay. Well, not I. So that would be one of those, or something like Ghosts and Goblins.
That one I've never finished. I don't think I've ever gotten past the first level.
Okay.
I've made it past the first level, but I've never made it to the end. Yeah.
For me, I would say, and I may lose my gamer card for this, but Super Castlevania 4 was very difficult for me. I got to the end, Dracula, but I still can't beat Dracula.
I don't remember if I ever finished that one. I know I liked the first few levels, but I don't remember if I ever finished it.
Yeah. So that
I know
one, that one frustrates me because I made it that far and I couldn't beat Dracula, and it was just
I never finished the original Castlevania. I know I beat 2 and 3.
Yeah. So, but I am gonna have to. My friend Scott, we were talking about this earlier today, and how frustrated I was about that. In fact, and he said he had to go watch a YouTube video to see the patterns, and I'm like, you know what? I didn't even think of that. I should go watch the patterns that somebody else did and see if I can then figure it out from there. So, all right. So the follow up to that question is: if you buy a game, do you think the developer owes it to you to make the game easy enough to be able to get to the final credits and beat the game? No, I don't think the developer owes it to you.
I agree. I don't think they do. You know, it's a nice to have.
Yes.
And you know, if they do it, they open the market to more people, more potential buyers. But that's a risk that they're willing to take on their own, and they know this going ahead.
Yeah, the developer's giving you a game that it's their vision.
It's their vision.
Yes.
Right.
So you're playing their vision. They're playing the game that they want to play. Essentially, I've heard a lot of developers say that it's a game they wanted to play, they wanted to create.
I think it would be nice to have that. I think that an easier version could almost be looked at, and hear my heart when I say this, it could almost be looked at as an accessibility option for players who maybe don't have quick reaction time or can't handle multiple things happening at the same time. I really like that there's this movement in games where it's like the difficulty levels are, here's the way you play the game normally, and here is for the people who just want to experience the story.
Yes.
Like Ratchet and Clank, I just said, screw it. I'm putting it, I know going into this, I've never beaten a Ratchet and Clank game before. I don't know if I'll ever beat this one, but I'm putting this on the easiest level. And if I have the time, I'll play through it. If I don't, then that's on me for not having the time.
Those 2 points are great in regards to being able to play because you want to see the story and have a little fun in it, and or accessibility, like you said, Marty. So, and those two things, I don't think, again, the developers don't owe it to us, but it is very conscientious of the players when they do add that. So, great. Again, another great question and conversation there. All right, questions from the Patreon. Christopher Logo, again, Christopher HL94, I believe. So, what will you be looking forward to during the upcoming EA Play Live event next week? Should we pay attention as Switch players? I'm sure Christopher is looking forward to the NHL 94
I didn't
Rewind.
even know that they had a presentation scheduled next week.
Take a drink.
When is this? Do you know?
The 22nd. It's on our calendar, actually. I think, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
Yes, it is. EA Play Live 22nd. at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
I'm going to tell you what I would love to see. And
Pre-show
honestly,
against.
it's not James Pond, but I think it would really be cool to see a new Road Rash game.
That would be cool. By the way, Summer Games uh, Fest, I think it is, right? It says 1 p.m. is when the actual EA Play Live starts. So,
Oh,
but I
and
do like the
the
Road
chat
Rash.
also reminded me of this. Sims for the Switch would kill.
We've been calling that for a while now, right? So definitely.
I'd just
I
be
agree.
happy with like the original Plants vs Zombies. I don't care about the shooter stuff. I just want the original strategy game.
A new version of that. That's not monetize,
Right.
microtransaction to death.
Yeah,
Would be
Plants
great.
vs Zombies 2 was gross.
Yep. I liked if they're going to continue doing any of the games they already put out on the Switch, if they do another iteration of Burnout 3 would be awesome if they brought that to the Switch.
Yes.
Or Most Wanted, Need for Speed Most Wanted. I had a lot of fun with that game, and I think that would be a good one to bring too. But of course, I would love it if EA Sports shows up. I won't say, obviously we've already beat to death NHL 94 Rewind. I'm just saying EA Sports in general, if they could stop being lazy and just build to the audience, I think they would make money. And that's what they're all about, right? They want to make some money. So, and I think if EA Sports shows up for the Switch, I think that would be awesome. Now, the thing I worry about.
I'm still mad at them about the whole Mass Effect 3 thing on Wii U. That was just, that was not reasonable at all. Oh, no one bought this, so no one wants it. Well, no one bought it because you just released the trilogy for cheaper on the other systems last week or next week.
Yeah. What now? If we may not get anything specific, but I will take what they did last time. Last time they did something big like this, which was we'll have 5 games or 7 games coming out for the Switch in the next 9 months, and be on the lookout for what we'll talk about, but at least give us 1 or 2 of whatever they're going to bring to the Switch. I think that would be great, because then at least we know there's a plan. We'll be on the lookout for those type of things that come out, so that would be exciting to me.
And you get to look forward to announcements, to future announcements, which is always fun as a journalist.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it gives you a roadmap, at least, to be excited about, instead of trying to guess if somebody's going to be coming out with something. All right. Thanks again for that question, Chris. And next question is from David Bullicka. With all the anniversaries taking place over the last year or so, DK, Mario, Zelda, what do the dads think of the overall celebrations that Nintendo has rolled out, shown to the fans? Do you think Nintendo has done a good job or good enough job in honoring some of these franchises, or should more have been done? Does the acknowledgement Nintendo gives some properties and not others help the game's future in the video game space?
I think I already answered that question with one of the headlines in our news that I wrote earlier. Saying that ATLUS has done more for Persona's 25th than Nintendo has done for Zelda's 35th.
I have to admit, I'm underwhelmed right now by what Nintendo is doing for Zelda. I get they're the house that Mario built, but compared to Mario's 35th, this feels a little lacking.
There's times where we feel Nintendo is not Nintendo. They've changed. They're being a little bit more transparent, but they're not transparent enough yet. They haven't got to the point of being a company that's more transparent into what's going on. And I think that I would like to hear an argument that says transparency would be bad for Nintendo if they came out and said, we aren't able to do these things because of COVID, or we have delays in these things, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it's reasonable to expect some sort of game to come out to celebrate every franchise every time. That, especially this year, that's a lot. But at least, put out a little video kind of outlining the history of the franchise and give us, like, dig into the vault a little bit. Like the stuff they put in the art books that are Japan only. So even something small like that would be better than kind of what we got.
Yeah, it was like
say for Kid Icarus, where we got nothing, and I predicted that we weren't going to get anything.
yes, I predicted we would be underwhelmed by the Zelda thing. So,
but even like a small 15-minute video talking about things Pit and that franchise has done is more than nothing.
Yeah, yep, and even the small things that they used to do were a lot more than what they did here too. Like do things in like they did with the Nintendo Club or Club Nintendo or that kind of stuff, or a free. I don't know. Again, I'm assuming it's easy, but they did free games like the Four Swords for Zelda. Like I was hoping they would do again, where it'd be free on NSO. Or things like that, or even make a Picross game out of, like they did the Twilight Princess Picross game, even though that wasn't necessarily to celebrate anything, it was still pretty cool. Or do something as simple like they did with 3DS, where they did
even
the
that
themes.
Was free. It cost 1,000 platinum points, but
how easy it would be if they would just unlock themes on the Switch instead of the white and black.
Zelda. Start with Zelda and Metroid this year.
And give us themes, and just say, here, we're going to celebrate 35th anniversary. Here's
I remember even when themes
for
were
your
introduced
Switch.
on the 3DS, I was against it because I'm like, I don't open my Switch to look at the menu. Or my 3DS, I opened it to play the games. So I was like the last person to adopt a theme. And when I did eventually get a Zelda theme that I liked, it was probably for the, 5 years ago.
I think I have every single Zelda theme that they sold.
I still have that as my active Zelda 3DS theme.
I have the Metroid Samus 2 theme on mine, and it's been that way ever since. Because I love the music.
I have a rotation of several themes.
Yep, I used to do that too.
NES remix, or the Famicom version of the NES remix. Yeah, I mean, there's several.
Those were awesome. Those were so awesome.
I think it feels like Nintendo has done a great job with the Switch, but there's part of the company that has forgotten how to celebrate itself. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like it's just, how do we celebrate these big deal things?
And the part that's not transparent is it something because I don't know how to word this. Is it because they don't have the manpower to do it and they're focusing on other things, or I guess the problem is like you said, Jesse, it's like you don't need to celebrate everything, but you set a precedence by saying, here's 35th anniversary of Mario. Oh, what are they going to do for Zelda and everybody else's 35th or 40th or whatever? Right. And then all of a sudden we get nothing. Is it because of COVID? You guys already had things in place for Mario and you didn't have things in place for Zelda, so that's why we didn't get that? We don't know. We just are guessing and we're frustrated as fans, so we're not getting those things. So that's where the transparency thing, I think, comes into play. They pick and choose when they're going to be transparent too, which again is not consistent. We'll see things on Twitter that says, hey, we're going to do this, that, and this because they heard people. And then there's other times where they don't say anything. So it gets frustrating as a fan, obviously. But yes, that was a great question. Thanks, David. All right, and the last question is from Twitter, from Andy P, the informant, which I think he was in the chat too as well. Any of you guys ever purchase a replacement battery or an extended battery for the original Switch? One of my screws popped out the back, and I think the battery must be swelling up.
I didn't purchase a battery, but I had to replace the fan in my Switch, or actually get a friend to do it. And it was one of those take the back off of it jobs, take the rails off the side, all that stuff. And he does that not for a living, but as a hobby. And so he did a great job doing that. And it fixed some of my fan issues, but I've had the bloating battery thing, not to a lot of the extent of losing a screw or anything like that, but all of those parts are on Amazon. You
had
can,
that
you
happen
can
to a
get 'em.
shirt before where I lost a button, because I was bloated or something.
Yeah, I've never had to do that to a Switch, but I've replaced the battery on my GBAs multiple times.
Yeah, I've been pretty blessed that I haven't had issues with my OG Switch. So I that's why I'm not too what's the word, like choked up about not being able to get the OLED pre-ordered. Because my Switch is not in that bad of shape. It's actually still in pretty good shape. And so I know that's rare for a lot of people. So I'm thankful for that.
If you have the OG Switch, I guess, which is like we say the OG, the original Switch,
Yeah.
there's
Day
a
one
battery
Switch.
a battery replacement kit with all the tools you need and the battery on Amazon right now for $15.99.
There you go.
The upgraded battery is $11.99, but it does not come with the upgrade kit. So you would have to buy that separately. And I take that back. I did replace the battery on my Wii U gamepad when they started offering
Oh, I've done that before
the
too.
higher,
Yes.
the higher capacity battery.
Mhm.
I did buy one of those and replace it, and it was very simple to do. But I would recommend here an informant, if you are not comfortable or confident like opening your Switch up, this would be like go find an electronics store nearby that does iPhone repair or something. Ask them if they wouldn't mind doing this for you, and you might even say, "Hey, I'll provide the part if you'll just charge me to put it in."
Yeah.
You can get it here on Amazon for super cheap.
I love doing that kind of stuff, but
Chances are, though, once that started, I meant to say this. Once that process is started, you need to get on it sooner than later.
yes, get her done.
Yeah, a swollen battery is not healthy.
It could cause more damage than you can be able to repair if you don't get that out of there.
There is a kit. I scrolled down a little bit. There is a kit for the higher capacity replacement batteries. It's $16.99. It comes with the tools that you need to open it up.
I usually love doing this kind of thing. I've done the Joy-Cons where I've taken them apart, but what I'm afraid of is, yeah, I have confidence in doing my own, but then I start panicking if I do someone else's because I don't want to screw up somebody else's.
I tried
Switch
doing
or
something like that once. I had 2 broken DS lights. I wanted to Frankenstein them together to be one working unit.
Yeah.
And ended up having 2 piles of junk that has hit the trash.
Yep. Well, as you know, a lot of times you have to stumble and pick yourself up and try again, right? And,
That's right.
But I'd rather do that on my own devices than anybody else's.
That's why I'm a software guy, not a hardware guy.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Great questions,
Guys,
everybody.
Absolutely. This has been episode 334 of Nintendo Dads. We've really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I've enjoyed getting to spend some time talking Nintendo with you tonight. And as we close out the show, we want to say a huge thanks to all of our Patreon folks who go over and support us over on patreon.com. But we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers as well. Dave Ernsberger, Antonio Contronio, Solo Something, and Chris Mears. You guys are awesome. And next week on the show, Dave Ernsberger himself will be joining us live to break down all of the week's Nintendo news, as well as everything else. We want to say a huge thanks also to our YouTube subscribers, where we've gotten over 5,600 subscribers right now, pushing up toward 5,700, and over 1,000 followers, close to 1,100 on Twitch. And we want to say a huge thanks to the 23 Twitch subscribers who also get access to our Discord communities and activities due to that. You can check us out on our website at nintendodads.org, or head us up on social media for all of our videos and social tweets and all that good stuff. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com. Call in and leave a voicemail like Mecha Dragon 101 at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. A reminder, download us from your podcast app of choice like CastBox, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Music, or Spotify. But don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and some written words to help people find the show and bump it on up the ratings. Guys, this has been Marty, Tim, and Jesse. This has been episode 334. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Good night, peeps.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Nintendo Dads Podcast.